What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to your third stimulus check update, stimulus package update and news report for Tuesday, March 2nd. Over the past 24 hours, Democrats have been very vocal about what they want. This includes Democrats both in the House and the Senate. Remember, the House Democrats already passed their bill, yet now some are finally starting to speak up. And in the Senate Democrats like Bernie Sanders and 9 others are now calling for President Biden to issue a monthly stimulus check. Yes, the talks of a monthly stimulus check are not over. And even though the House already passed their bill, now is the time when many House Democrats are saying that they want to see this bill changed. Why? Because new information is now coming out. They are now seeing that the Democrats in the Senate have more power and they're trying to get some of their amendments through. And that's actually making some of these Democrats in the House very upset. But currently, Democrats in the House have no power because this bill is sitting over at the Senate. You have to see what the Senate does. Now, President Biden did meet virtually yesterday with a group of Democrats, and this happened yesterday afternoon. This meeting, according to reports, they are saying that it went very well, and they were able to get a few more centrist Democrats on board with this roughly $1.9 trillion stimulus package. However, there are still a handful that are wanting changes. We know that there's going to be there has been some acknowledgement of a change or slight change to the $1,400 stimulus checks. However, it has nothing to do with the amount. It has nothing to do with the $1,400 checks. It's not going to be a monthly stimulus check at this point. But here's what we know, and again, we haven't received any hard confirmations yet, but on the amounts as of yet. But this is kind of what we are hearing. A couple of reports indicate that there was a compromise or an agreement of a compromise between a couple income thresholds. The first one being we cannot adjust the income threshold for an individual. If they make $75,000 and we cut them off at $100,000, that should be adequate, according to reports. However, they say a couple making $150,000 and being cut off at $200,000, that's just too much. So here's kind of the numbers that we are hearing. As of right now, they don't want to adjust the numbers for an individual. They want to leave it at $75,000. However, some are saying we should leave it at $75,000 for the cutoff, and we should bump it down to $50,000 when the $1,400 stimulus checks start to phase out. Again, I don't know if that's going to really hold, but that's one of the things. And the main thing is, let's adjust the couples that are making, up to $200,000. Let's bring that all the way down to $120,000, and let's have couples start getting the phase out starting at $100,000. So it'd be similar to like $50,000 to $60,000 for an individual. So that's just what we're hearing. But again, there's no hard confirmations yet on these numbers or on these figures. So until we receive those, again, that's kind of just speculation. But one report is saying that somebody mentioned a couple making $10,000 per month or $120,000 per year should be able to get by without a stimulus payment. And I know a lot of you guys that are here aren't making $200,000 or millions of dollars, and that's perfectly fine. But here's what you need to understand is even if this amendment gets changed through the House, or through the Senate, if this amendment goes through in the Senate, the problem is it's going to have some pushback in the House between the progressives that actually want to lift this limit. Even Bernie Sanders says that this limit of $150,000 to $200,000 for a couple can still be a little bit small. We should actually raise it back up to exactly where it once was, which is essentially the cutoff at, $150,000, and then it just phases out over there, but it doesn't have a hard cutoff. We'll see what happens, but right now progressives don't support a lower income limit, and this is going to be difficult to get a bill passed, and here's the reason why. Yes, this bill may pass through the Senate because President Biden is speaking with Senate Democrats. However, once it gets kicked back to the House for them to do a revote on this, what's going to happen is we could see progressives start to push back, and if they do, they may reject the bill in the House because they're going to reject the Senate's version of the House bill, and that's going to be an issue. because then we could ultimately just blow right through this March 14th deadline when our current unemployment benefits expire. So that's going to be a big issue, and that's one of the things that some are talking about as to, can we get this to be a little bit better without blowing up the entire package? And right now, it seems it's unlikely to make this a better package without getting rid of some other pieces. So we'll see what happens. But right now, many progressives are even working on getting another stimulus check passed right after this bill gets passed. Here's what we know. And there was a letter that was sent to President Biden just the other day, and it was from 10 progressives in the Senate. This was actually led by Bernie Sanders, Ron Wyden, and Elizabeth Warren. They sent a letter to President Biden demanding that after this $1.9 trillion stimulus package gets passed, which is going to include a $1,400 stimulus check, they're saying that we need to provide for the American people, we need to give them more help, and we need to provide a monthly stimulus check. Now, they didn't go into any details as to how much the check should be or what the income limitations are. However, they did give us a little bit of insight as to why they think a monthly stimulus check is needed and what this would do for the American people. So let me read a couple paragraphs from this letter itself. It says, "We urge you to include recurring direct payments and automatic unemployment insurance extensions tied to economic conditions in your Build Back Better long-term economic plan." This would be the infrastructure bill. "This crisis is far from over, and families deserve certainty that they can put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads. Families should not be at the mercy of constantly shifting legislative timelines and ad hoc solutions." And when it comes to why the monthly payment is needed, this is what the senators said. Okay, and I quote, "Unemployment insurance has replaced lost income for millions who have lost their jobs, but millions of others do not qualify for unemployment insurance after seeing their hours reduced, switching to lower paying jobs, or temporarily leaving the workforce to care for family members during the pandemic. Direct payments are crucial for supporting struggling families who aren't reached by unemployment insurance." So as you can see, they're not done fighting for a monthly stimulus check. They may be done fighting for the monthly stimulus check during this $1.9 trillion package. However, they are not going to stop. They're going to push this over to the next one. And then based on all reports, if we do not see monthly recurring stimulus checks, if we don't see, there's going to be other provisions. Well, I'm not, go and get into a whole list of these things, but if they don't see these new provisions added into the next bill, they're going to put them into the next bill and the next bill and the next bill. And some say that President Biden is open to doing stimulus for the next few years. He is open to doing stimulus if that's what it takes, but we will see what actually happens. But right now, this monthly stimulus check is not the only fight that Democrats are currently fighting. They are still fighting the $15 minimum wage provision. Some say that they just want to get rid of this and move on. Others say no, this is needed. A few reports indicate that Democrats do have bipartisan support from Republicans on this provision as well. But the issue is it's not at the $15 per hour that Democrats really want. Some are saying that if they were to pass a bill around the $11 to $12 range, they could get bipartisan support. However, it's going to take the bill from roughly $15 down to $10 in order to get those 10 Republican votes. Remember, in order to get a bill passed through the Senate, it has to receive 60 votes. Right now, there's 50 Democrats. They would need 10 Republicans on board. Right now, there are reports that say they could get the 10 votes, but only if the unemployment wage went down to $10 per hour. That is still up almost $3. That's up $2.75 from where it currently is. However, some say Democrats do not look likely to compromise that much at this time. So we will see what happens there, but that is one of the big issues, is how much or how willing are Democrats to compromise with Republicans in order to get this bill passed to provide for the American people. Some say that it should just be passed at $10 or $11 because even though Democrats would get the $15 minimum wage if they were to get that passed, the issue is it would go from $7.25 to $9.50 immediately, then it would go to $11 and then so on and so forth. So really, if they can do this now and get $10, $11, That would actually help out the American people in the short term. It may hurt them long term, but at least right now it's going to provide for them and their families. Right now, there are a lot of discussions going on within the Democratic Party. I'm trying to bring you all those updates as we hear them. However, there's a lot to discuss. Some right now want less stimulus, but others want more. Progressives want to see one thing, but then centrist Democrats want to see something completely different. So that is the problem, is everybody is opposing the other person's view and their amendments. Whether we get anything out of this, who knows? But again, that's something we just have to wait and see. It is going to take some time, but like former President Barack Obama used to say all the time, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. This is exactly what Democrats are trying to do. They don't want the perfect bill to be the enemy of a good bill. This is exactly what happened when former President Donald Trump was trying to get this stimulus package done, and a lot of people kept saying, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, because they were saying that Nancy Pelosi and then Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin were trying to negotiate this bill to be perfect and everybody would be 100% happy. But then they're saying, if it was good enough, we should have just passed it. If we would have passed that bill months ago, then we wouldn't be in this situation that we are currently in. And so that is what some lawmakers are saying, is we cannot wait. Let's get this passed. Let's get it done. It's good enough. Let's get it passed. Let's move on, so that in 6 months, we're not looking back and thinking, we should have passed that bill 6 months ago. And honestly, if we're still fighting for this $1.9 trillion stimulus package in 6 months, I think the American people will be hurting. Now for some daily news. First, President Biden will meet with Senate Democrats today during their virtual lunch. This is where he plans to get all Democrats on board with his plan, trying to address any concerns or questions that they may have. The goal right now is to just have a vote on this bill, hopefully tomorrow, but some are saying that is highly unlikely and it will most likely be pushed back. We can't wait much longer for this bill. That is what multiple lawmakers are saying, that right now there is the time to act. This is the perfect time. The American people are ready. They're waiting. Let's get it done. The United States also reported 56,672 new cases of COVID yesterday, and that also was 1,425 deaths. The numbers are starting to come down. They are starting to trickle down a little bit. However, a lot of this is not due to the vaccines. A lot of this is due to people just staying away, washing their hands, wearing a mask. That's pretty much it. When President Biden was asked by Mexico about sharing the vaccines that the United States currently has, President Biden responded with, we have to vaccinate our people first, and then we can readdress where we stand. So the good news is, and I saw comments on this yesterday as well, and also this morning, is that President Biden is not open to sharing our vaccine supply with Mexico at this time, because the goal is to get the American people vaccinated first. And then this is another issue, is that it was kind of looked at as, and I know a bunch of people question this, was why should the American people pay for a vaccine that we're just going to send down to Mexico? Because again, all this money has to be repaid by taxpayers. Who are the taxpayers? That is right, you and I. Why should we pay for a vaccine and just send it off to other countries? We do this all the time with just money and just supplies. Should we continue to do this when we're in a pandemic? Well, a lot of people say absolutely not. We're also hearing that Democrats are very worried about former President Donald Trump running for office again. They say with the amount of people that watched the CPAC this weekend, some say that former President Donald Trump might even have a larger following than before. I saw on Facebook, and a couple of you guys even mentioned it, to look at the numbers. But if you look at the numbers between, what President Biden does on YouTube or Facebook or really anywhere, any social media platform, the numbers are quite low compared to when former President Donald Trump speaks, and you get a huge, influx in numbers. So let's say you get like 1 million views on let's say 100,000 views on a President Biden speech. If former President Donald Trump were to speak, and like he did at the CPAC, he got millions and millions of views on multiple different YouTube channels and different Facebook pages and all this stuff, simply because it was him that's speaking. Now, I'm not saying that, Democrats have to be worried, but that is something that they are currently worried about. And right now, Democrats worry that going too small on this stimulus package would ultimately hurt them and would only leave the door open for former President Donald Trump to come right back in. So that is currently what we know is going on. But as always, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys on the next one.